Welcome back to Capitol Review. I'm Mark Hall. As we get closer to the midterm elections, the Trump administration continues to move forward with its domestic agenda. And critics feel that Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche will play a key role moving forward. Two Republican senators, Thom Tillis and John Cornyn, are holding up Blanche's confirmation. And President Trump says that he would even consider temporarily pulling the nomination. Joining us now is Dr. Omekongo Dibinga, political science professor at American University and also founder of Upstander International. Dr. Dibinga, welcome back to Capitol Review.
Thanks for having me.
You know, we're always glad to have you. Let's get right to it. Your reaction to the Blanche confirmation process.
Well, first of all, he should have never been part of this process in the first place. And when you look at his record, just on the Epstein files alone, the way that he has completely disrespected the Epstein victims when he actually met with them because it was a requirement from one of the senators, he basically was rushing them, telling them to get to the point. Look what he did with Ghislaine Maxwell, moving her to a lighter facility, prison. He, at every level, and look at some of the other things that he has been pursuing, at every level, he has shown that he is not qualified for this position. So the fact that it's being delayed now, he should have never got here.
Well, let's talk about delay. Two Republican senators, Thom Tillis, who's not running again, and John Cornyn, who lost in a primary to a Trump-backed candidate. We've seen this before. They say that Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. Do you expect those two to eventually fall in line with the president?
I do. I mean, why should we expect any different? He had it drawing out the process. He had it making themselves look, But these guys, senators, they confirmed RFK Jr. right at the end of the day, right? And so when you look at it, I think these individuals, they're just playing along for attention, trying to look strong, but eventually they will fall in line. And I think it's disgraceful that Trump is talking about, pulling his nomination until those two are out of office so you can get other senators in there that will support his particular plan. Remember, he just wants senators in there who are going to vote for him to be able to have someone in there who can protect his ability to not be audited for him and his family. It's disgraceful.
Dr. Dibinga, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, it doesn't matter. Very few people want war. As it continues in Iran, the longer it goes, the worse it gets across the board.
Yeah, and Iran, they're smart in what they're doing over there. They read the newspapers. I mean, this is very reminiscent of Jimmy Carter, in '79. They understand that they don't have to deal with concerns about midterms. They don't have to deal with elections, but Trump does. And they also understand that Trump is ultimately very weak. They know he's not going to put troops on the ground. They know that he's running out of munitions. And they also know that Congress currently is not willing to give him and Hegseth more money to be able to do what they want. So Iran is in a winning position right now. And you see that it's erupted. Saudi Arabia, all of these other countries are now getting involved. It's erupted into a regional war, all at the hands and fault of Donald Trump.
Dr. Dibinga, less than 100 days to the midterm elections. Let's talk about the Democratic Party. You have the moderates and, of course, the progressives. Are they on the same page as far as messaging moving forward?
Oh, absolutely not. And I call them so-called progressives. You see that the DSA is having a convention this weekend, and people look at them as these progressives, but they have like very little to no diversity within their movement. And so, yes, people are on differing pages. I do believe at the end of the day, the Democrats, like the DSA, they do have a messaging problem because some of their other more extreme positions are getting in the way of some of the other positions they have that most Democrats do indeed agree on, particularly as it relates to conversations relating to affordability. And that's what Democrats should be sticking to. We have seen it last year in some of the elections that happened. They work, but I feel like some people are actively working to play spoiler, and that's going to serve to be a problem for the Democratic Party going forward into the midterms.
Dr. Omekongo Dibinga, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.